Okay. Well, I don't know if any of our previous guests will be able to find this, but we are at least back online and things. Trying to follow along.
Whoops.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Just,
Are registrations open for this yet or no?
no, I will be opening them this afternoon once we get everything approved. We haven't selected a theme this year. We didn't have one last year. But I wanted to talk to you about the possibility of adding one, just because generally I think that helps focus people when they're trying to think of presentations. And we've come such a long way in the last few years that I've been trying to think about something to do with working together and how we've really come to become quite a community. And a quote that I found, I'm sure you've probably heard it somewhere before, it's from Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. Do you think you'd be okay with using something like that for the theme?
Yeah.
Okay. Did quite a bit of legwork, and I know I queried several groups several times about a keynote. When we're not able to nail one down, and I wanted to go ahead and make a decision before we open registrations. So what we decided we're going to do this year is, instead of having a keynote, we're going to hold a workshop on that Thursday. And it's going to be the workshop that everyone's been asking me for since I started. It's going to be a reports workshop.
Lovely.
So participants will have to bring their own machines, and there will be a limit of 50, because that many people trying to work reports all at once is going to be a challenge.
Have you tested the Wi-Fi there?
The convention center is supposed to be able to handle it. I've asked.
Okay.
They said they have a lot of conferences there that are tech heavy, so we'll see.
I just know that there was a little bit of an issue at McCormick's Creek for, you remember?
A little bit. That place is not
generous.
wired. It's not wired
No,
for
but it's
wireless.
pretty.
It's not. It's pretty. It's just old.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll run that risk, but hopefully
Okay.
we'll,
But they felt confident in it.
that they can handle the technology concept. Yes, she said she was, so fingers crossed that that's true all around.
She hasn't had librarian yet.
Together with the registration, I'll be putting the CFP out along as the vendor application. If there are any vendors you specifically would like me to invite, let me know, and I'll be happy to send it to them. Otherwise, I've put together a page on the blog that will have links, and if you have anyone you want to direct personally, feel free to. Rates are going to be, if you attend the full conference, both days are going to be $75. If you come just for the workshop and dinner reception, it's going to be $30. If you come just for the Friday activities, it's going to be $50.
And the executive committee meeting, that will be on the 9th, which is the same day as the workshop.
Right. Yes, and it will be later than usual because we'll have the e-content group meeting first. And it's run off the screen since I switched to a widescreen presentation, so I'm trying to remember if there's anything else on this slide that I'm forgetting. Oh, we are going to try to solicit scholarships. So if we have, so we may have an option for some people to attend for free, or if they're presenters at a discounted rate. Is there anything else you would like me to put into the planning at this point?
Do we ever invite non-Evergreen libraries to come to this?
Anyone can attend who's interested.
I know, but I'm thinking, it's like, if somebody asks to get married, you don't do it through a letter, you do a phone call or in person. I've just thrown it out there. If you've done it in the past, then
It came up during the international conference here in 2012. Nothing ever came of that. I don't know of any other efforts since then.
I'll tell you what, I was at a meeting this past Friday with the 19 libraries that are in the northeastern part of Indiana. And what they're telling me is those patrons are coming into the non-EI libraries and saying, don't you have the green card? Aren't you part of the green card people? I'd really like it if we were a green card person. So I'm thinking if maybe we invited them or, I don't know, just throwing it out there.
My hesitation with being at the conference is that, at least last year, our content was highly focused towards existing users.
Okay.
Maybe we could hold some sort of informational meeting.
Is there
That would be-
potential of having that evening dinner reception be something that would be almost like a welcome event? I don't know, I kind of just want to.
It might be too late for this year. Maybe it's something to think about down the road.
We've got some libraries that have said they're interested. I would definitely be interested in having them attend, just so they can get a feel for how we do things.
Do we give them the scholarships?
What district are you at for Iowa?
3.
Would it be appropriate to do kind of informational thing at the district conferences?
I am doing an Evergreen informational session at this particular district meeting.
At District 3?
Okay.
Would it be appropriate for other Evergreen libraries that are not in that district to show up for your
Well, I
session?
don't know. I think we're fine with anybody who wants to come.
Right, yeah, but I was thinking moral support. Okay.
Sure.
You're like, okay.
Sure, let's do it.
So, to a degree, it depends on what kind of presentations people want to give. If it's good general information, we may have a lot more non-Evergreen libraries interested in participating.
Okay.
So, our facility limits are, we can only have, I've only made arrangements for up to 175 people to attend, so.
How many simultaneous sessions can be going on there?
I've arranged for 3 breakout rooms. In a pinch, we can use the vendor and gathering room as well. I've already got 21 sessions scheduled in addition to the lunchtime meet and greet, State of Evergreen, and an entertainment event.
Maybe that lunch thing would be an appropriate time to just maybe send out invitations for that and take reservations.
I just think people up north aren't gonna make a trek
Yeah,
for
for
just
lunch.
lunch.
I know,
So,
I agree with you. I'm just
I think
thinking
the
out loud,
district
it's always
probably
better.
would be
It's a
the
better
best
idea.
idea. Because I know, we went to the international conference before we were live. We didn't have a clue what was going on.
It takes a couple of years.
It does. No clue.
I know. I wouldn't recommend that.
It was
for
more of
somebody's a newbie.
Oh, it was horrible. It was.
Don't want to get ourselves
Intimidating.
Did you go here in 2012? Is that the one that you went to?
But we weren't,
Yeah.
we hadn't gone live
We hadn't
yet,
gone
so
live.
Oh, we've gone live. and
this
I
was
like,
all, like, I had no idea. We hung out in the
For your
hallway most of the conference.
It's a pretty hotel.
It was really nice. Had a nice gift shop, hung out in there for a while.
Just watch the elevator.
It was very intimidating over there, so.
Do you think it might be the sort of thing that, just a single day could just be devoted to that? It would be totally separate from this conference. It's way too late for that. But maybe a little more centralized, maybe just here, so that they
Like
don't have
maybe
to
a
go
3 or
halfway
4 hour
across the street.
thing that provided LEUs.
Yeah.
And, I mean, start dangling different carrots.
What information would make people want to join, I guess is the question that I have.
Questions that I get are on the membership fee. People have heard of it outside of the consortium, which is good. Acquisitions. And also like incidentals like app integration and that kind of stuff. I mean, really. Those are the things that I've heard from people. I'm sure there's more than that, but.
And I know there's, I guess the questions I always hear from people are, well, how much of your stuff goes out to other libraries, you know, that kind of thing. So if we can provide statistics like that.
We transit 300 items.
We send out
You send out more
about
than
as
that.
many as we get in, so.
You know what I hear too? I hear for patrons, it's like staff's like, yeah, for patrons, we think it's great, but for us, it sucks. Because it's clunky or they don't like the, you know, they don't like the internal interface, sorry, but that's what I hear.
I'm the
But if
first
we're
one,
internally-
I'll be
They
the first
don't
one to
like
tell
it.
you it's no good, but it's not a whole lot better than,
You mean the
it's not
staff
much
client?
worse than the
I
rest I've
guess there are
seen.
staff, right, I don't think it's.
Is that what they don't like as a staff
It's
client?
certainly no worse than we have
That's
with
fine.
TLC.
That's
I'm
fine.
pretty sure. I don't- Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't.
I mean, I haven't seen Millennium, I don't know what
I don't
Triple I
have
is
any
doing,
personally.
but I remember
Yeah.
Cersei pretty well.
When I went again, it was DOS-based, it was more user-friendly. I mean, maybe it's better now than it used to be. Evergreen's way better than
It
it
has
used to be.
toolbar, I guess. There's that.
What were you using before?
What was I? Oh, I've been on 4 different ones, but Evergreen, or, we were on Cersei. Right, but I'm just saying, that group that I meet with, I know Eckerd Public Library, which is in Auburn, that's all they're hearing. It's because they're surrounded by Evergreen libraries. But they investigated it and the staff that investigated switching, because they're on TLC, said, for the patrons, we love it, but for us, no,
Well, why
thank
are
you."
we here?
So,
I know,
I know.
That's my question. I mean,
Yeah,
we don't
and
have a library so people can, so my employees can
Can
like
be
what's
happy.
going on.
And isn't Eckerd the one that was trying to do like its own consortium of TLC libraries a few years ago? Because they were really pressuring us before we went Evergreen to join this weird consortium that they were trying to start up. And it was gonna be so clunky, I just couldn't imagine. It was Eckerd, but yeah.
It does exist. They
Okay.
did put it together,
Yeah.
and they do resource share amongst themselves.
But it was, boy, the way they were talking back then, it was gonna be super clunky.
I don't find any clunkiness, but maybe it's
I
just
don't
because I'm
either.
used to.
That's what I was gonna say,
There's-
maybe I'm just used to it.
But I mean, I thought TLC was horribly clunky, and I actually thought Evergreen was better. I mean, than TLC, but maybe TLC's gotten better. Won't say more. Say no more.
Well, maybe like a petting zoo type of.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Them see it in action. You know, because maybe they found the one disgruntled employee to talk to that hated the change just because it was change, and that's what they all come up with.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She keeps mentioning these employees. I didn't even know they existed.
Well, then they feed off each other.
Yeah.
Start, I mean, it just snowballs.
Yep.
Morrison reviews, that's all I'm good. I mean, not gunning. That sounds a little.
Okay, have we exhausted?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on. The 2016 fee schedule.
Okay, since we haven't actually implemented this as yet, my recommendation to the committee is that we actually start with the rates that we approved last year. The bills will go out before your, or not bills, the notices will go out before our next meeting. So I'm already working with LDO to make sure that I get those stats as early as possible. And should have the notices out to everyone for planning purposes that last week in March.
Can you send a copy? Are there copies of these slides available that I've just been ignorant of for 2 years?
I don't usually post the slideshow, but
Would you mind sending a copy of that to me? I've been digging through the old spreadsheet. I prefer something up to date.
okay. It's also posted on our website and the FAQs.
Oh, okay.
So
Then
if
don't
you
send it
check-
to me. I'll just look there.
If you need, that's where hopefully we'll maintain it on a regular basis
Sure.
as well as things change over time.
Sounds lovely. I knew it was somewhere that I just didn't know.
and they get updated once you approve these.
Do we need to,
Yes. you will approve it.
can I have a motion to approve the proposed 2,000?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This recommendation is coming out of both the patron services and cataloging committees. As we continue to move forward, one of the things several libraries have run into is that books circulate for 21 days, and right now, the longest you can get an e-reader to circulate was 14. So the recommendation was that create a new circulation modifier with 7, 14, and 21 days circulation durations, would be non-transiting, foldable, would have 1 renewal, and will also have the high fine option that we currently have in equipment. And then equipment will scale back to the shorter periods, the 1, 7, and 3 that we had before we made that change last summer. This would maximize the available options for libraries that are circulating other equipment in addition to e-readers, and also provide us with a little more targeted reporting for e-reader materials.
Okay.
Is this what it's gonna look like?
Yes.
It has the long option as 3 days and the default is 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know, it doesn't make sense, but that's
Is
what
this
we
the way
inherited.
to,
It's one
really?
of the
Yeah.
joys of Evergreen.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
never-
know, it's
Yeah,
really weird.
short and long doesn't.
I've never searched equipment under Evergreen, so I never paid attention.
So, yeah, it's one of our foibles.
Okay.
It's the options are longer and shorter than each other, not default.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so if I could get you to approve that since it's a policy change,
Do I have
or if you prefer to discuss it further.
any more discussion?
I'm gonna accept that.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna accept that.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Oh. Refining reporting, sorry.
Yeah.
Refining.
One of the things that has come up in conversation with libraries a lot for me is that our reporting interface is simply overwhelming. And I know we've talked in the past about coming up with a core report set and doing a better job of maintaining that. It's time to revisit that conversation, and one of the first steps that we're talking about is unsharing all of the current globally shared templates. Put some sort of mechanism in place so people who have written outstanding reports could submit them, and we'd go ahead and just move them into admin. And that way we can index them better. We'll be able to do a better job of making sure we're not duplicating. This will in no way affect people's ability to clone them off and make local modifications. But
But how would you find them to clone them?
they'll be in the admin folder.
And you're not gonna unshare the admin.
Well, but so,
Correct.
but right now, if people have shared things, you can find it on your own and you don't have to ask somebody to
Officially, yes.
put it into an admin folder so that you can.
Right.
What we may have to do is send out a notification and say that if you're using a shared thing right now, you need to clone it into your own local folders.
Well, if we unshare, if you have an existing report that's running, it should not affect that. You just need to be able to go back and find the template again.
Which could that could cause issues though if there needs to be
But if
refined.
you can edit reports, which you can now, since the reports interface is now editable.
I didn't actually edit them.
You don't actually have to be able to go back to the template. You can just go to the report and make your change from there.
What do you think, Sarah?
I mean, I think that as streamlining things, people would really appreciate. But I think, I kind of feel like before doing that, it would be better to establish the like list of good reports rather than hiding everything and then saying, well, now we're gonna make a good list of reports.
Okay. How would you do that?
I would.
I mean,
create a new-
how, well, what's the plan, like, so the plan is right now to unshare everything and then establish a list of useful reports that people can go to, right? So my suggestion is reverse the order of that, establish a list of useful reports that people can go to and then unshare all of the crap. So that in the meantime, people can continue to digger through and find reports that are useful to them.
I would create a folder called Jason's Finest. Because every time somebody's out there going, is there a report can do this? Jason responds and goes, I have a report that's in my folder. It's called, and that's where all the best stuff is,
That's how I write my reports.
and so, but I think
Jason, you got this?
a folder that that has some name for, I guess I would kind of, maybe reverse steps 1 and 2 and make a submission process first.
That's what
So
Sarah's
people-
saying.
Yeah, that's.
The same thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly.
Does Jason have enough good reports in his folder right now that we'd be able to stop people from getting bad data? Where Jason's folder becomes, right now, the best of the best? And we can go ahead and
Sometimes
unshare.
we have
I'm just worried about people getting bad
have
data.
Bad data.
Right.
I know people are getting bad data.
Yeah,
We
The
could
problem with
look
that
at,
is we don't necessarily know we're getting bad data.
right.
Right.
there's a hybrid approach there too. Instead of not hiding anything, we could just initially hide all the admin stuff. That's where some of the worst stuff is actually
And the
hiding.
Evergreen admin stuff?
Yeah. Some of those are from 2008.
I don't-
Trust me, you don't want to run them.
Well, I don't usually, but I still like to look at them.
But,
Yeah, things I like.
and if, obviously there would be a lot of requests right off the bat, but anything that's still useful in there can be pulled back out. I don't mean delete them,
Sure.
so.
I kind of think that might be the good thing is unshare all the things that are outdated would be the first step. And then,
Well, actually, I think the first step would be if there are things that are outdated that people are running all the time, the first step would be create a new report that does the same thing, that works better,
Right.
and then unshare the crap
And
report.
can you
Because
tell if
people,
people are running those?
If they're running it directly, yes.
But if
they
they clone-
cloned it,
right,
it's
of
really
course.
hard because then you kind of have to just guess.
Well, they may not know either, because it may
Yeah.
have been, 2, 3, 5 years ago.
As long as they don't change the name much, like if it says clone, 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 clone at the end, then we can figure it out. But if they,
Which is a huge pet peeve, so.
yeah. I would even prefer clone -2 or whatever. But,
The clone one.
yeah, but if they've changed it to like my weeding report or whatever, it's
Right.
anyone's guess where that came from. But now that circulation counting reports won't run for 2.5 hours each time, that's not as urgent. Stopping all those, but we could invite people to look over what they're running, and if they're running anything older than maybe 3 years, that here's this nice list of newer reports that they should consider replacing them with.
When did you guys start?
2013.
So could use on the start date as the cutoff date. Pre-Anna, bad.
I do have some good reports that were pre-you. You are wonderful, but
Well, we
I
have
know.
we have several people who have written some excellent reports out there. It's just that
Hasn't
nobody's
some
got
terrible
time
ones.
at this point to wade through the 2,000 odd templates that are
Sure.
shared and try to figure out which ones work and which ones don't. So,
Well, and I will say too that way back when, I shared some templates with somebody, I don't know if they're using them. I'm not using anybody's share stuff. It was just a way that we could look at stuff together. So, and I have to wonder if are there a lot of people using shared templates? Or just a lot of people looking at them?
That's harder to tell without getting really nosy in the database. I mean, there's a long list of shared folders, but
I have 2. There's nothing useful in them. Guaranteed. Wow.
I mean, have problems with people who created reports who moved on and nobody knows that they're there or the library's lost access. That's happened a couple of times.
I'm not sure that it's something that we can decide today. I think that there needs to be more discussion on it and more thought about what some of the repercussions are and what exists.
But I'm all for cleaning it up
Sure.
and having more efficient reports that run better.
I'm guessing probably part of our struggle is that it's really only you guys who understand how it's really structured. I mean, it's hard for us to make a recommendation because I don't know how you'd get a report from point A to point B or what a submission process would look like. I mean, I have in my mind what I think would be great, but I'm sure it doesn't actually physically work within Evergreen. So I think people hesitate. I hesitate to, this is the first time I've ever said anything outside of talking to one other person maybe, because I know that I don't really understand how hard it is to put it together, and I don't want to be that person who's, complaining. Yeah, so. But if you want me to complain, I don't have to run reports very much anymore, although I'm going to be running some this year. But they're pretty straightforward, CERT reports and things. So I'm kind of starting fresh, so I'll go out and seek out the newest, best, and stuff like that. So I guess the problem would be, I'm thinking out loud, would be for people who have been running the same reports now for years. And how do you avoid,
Some of them will, some won't. Some of the older templates, I mean, the one that brought down the servers earlier this year was from 2008. And a half dozen different libraries all tried to run it at the same time, so.
well, and that was also related to a bug in Evergreen. Something that report tries to do will, no matter what, run for 2 hours on our system. That's been fixed. But it's still slow. Not necessarily getting everything people want.
But it's bringing us up because it is an issue. It is a problem,
Well, so-
right? And the sooner we get it taken care of, the better.
So you mentioned that, like you sent out an email about that report and said that there was going to be another report that would replace it. Is that not?
It's still in progress.
Because clearly if so many people tried to run it at the same time, it's a popular report.
It's come up a lot in the past. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's really generic, which is not the problem, because it looks like it can solve a lot of people's problems. Whether or not it actually does, I don't know. So I've got some ideas on how else to handle that. I already have a separate folder just for these so-called standard reports. It is not that long a list because I tried to keep it generic. Anyone can use them, and they will do something decent for everyone who runs them. I could move those to the admin folder so people are more likely to find them when they're looking at these other things.
Oh, they're in your folder, right?
Yes.
That's the first place I go to look for reports if I need to make something.
And you can see
I
all
also think most
reports,
people
can't you, whether they're
go
shared or
first.
not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not nearly as easy to look at them.
Sure.
But yeah, we
But
can copy them out. and see
you,
them.
because your server side can see them. Okay.
So I will try and make those standard so-called reports more well-known and see. I would like to fill that in and then replace the admin stuff with that.
That'd be awesome.
It was like this.
Well, it seems like the first thing is we need to just send out a note saying, hey, we're going to start cleaning up the reports.
Which ones
Send,
can you live without?
yeah,
Right.
and,
Yeah,
and who, do we send that to you or to,
Probably will be me.
okay.
and should
I
they
think that's-
send
I
a
think that's good.
template, not the name, but there's a number associated with each template, isn't there?
There is, I don't know how easy it is to get unless you've already scheduled it. Do you know if that's right on the?
The easiest
But a
way to do
template
it is to run it as a report, yeah.
Um,
I will, I can include that in the instructions. Because hopefully if it's a report that you need and use a lot, you can probably have a copy. If somewhere, that you can just pull up your output on and check and see which template you use. I know they're seasonal things as well.
Well, it's been a great help for you running the standard reports at the year end, and us just not touching anything.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Please continue until I retire, anyway.
Forever.
You're not leaving ever, are you?
You know what, just don't answer that. We can't really stand any bad news
Well,
into
hey,
business.
there's something to bring up at that non-evergreen info days. We do have your your,
Annual
Yeah.
report.
Yeah.
What, you're gonna bring up our meeting? I don't think that's the time to bring up
I think
ever.
that's a selling point.
Okay, any more discussion on the report?
I'm gonna start by pulling the community, see where we are. Maybe we'll run a report and see if we can get a feel for other templates that are getting used a lot. Maybe, see if we can figure that out.
Thank you for working on this. I know it's a bear, an angry, hungry bear.
Just hoping we can simplify it before too long, because I know it's probably one of the number one frustrations I deal with.
You guys are always successful when you respond to it.
Too many options.
It's a true story.
Okay, election nominations.
Okay, we are arriving at election terms again. We're gonna need to solicit nominations. 3 of the committees have active openings. The content does not, but they have requested that I extend an open invitation to the community for anyone else who would like to join. Nominations, self or otherwise, will open on the 16th. I'm going to put up probably a Google form for it. Once it closes on the 15th, then I will contact people and make sure that they genuinely want to run for the different offices. There will be a meet and greet on the 10th. That was one of the things I did hear from several libraries last year, was they didn't know who they were voting for. They didn't have a clue who anybody on this was. They thought it was lovely that there was a little bio there, but really wasn't quite as much as they would have liked. Ballots will be out on the 15th, and I believe it's 30 days. So we'll close that out May 15th. And the handover meetings will take place in June.
How many positions are open on the committees, do you know?
3 on the EC, 5 on patron services. Yeah. And that reminds me, I do need to ask for one thing from you. At least 1 for cataloging, possibly 2 more. I haven't heard back from the other ladies yet.
People are resigning.
No, their term is up. They actually had scheduled terms. So I asked them if they wanted to
We've
extend.
never had scheduled terms like that.
That was what was on the paperwork that I had.
What? We've never done it that way since the start of the construction.
Okay, well, Margaret's stepped off,
Okay.
so we still need to fill her seat.
Oh. Okay.
Margaret? Is that her name?
Well, I think. Okay, fine. But I mean, I think we had one more than we had typically had when she stepped off, so
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's fine
Okay,
to
so-
add another one, I'm totally open to that, and more help is definitely welcome. But it just usually it's been more pain
Okay.
to fill the seats.
Okay.
But if there are people interested, then great. So, and we might as well open it up since we're. But, I mean, in terms of people having terms expire, I mean, it's just weird since we've never had terms on it before, and so.
It kind of makes sense to not, I mean, that.
I mean, if we were going to do it, then
Specifically,
I feel like we
so
would need to set terms for everyone and not just have, oh, well, you started late, so your term expires. Whereas we have people like me who've been on there since the beginning. I mean, if their terms expired, then my terms way expired. So,
Do you want to revisit the bylaws and see if something has been added in there or?
There are no specific bylaws currently related to the cataloging committee. It's just when I inherited the paperwork, it said that with the exception of 3 members, serve 3 years. And after that,
Do you want to take that back
I
to
don't
the
think, yeah, I
cataloging
don't know
committee?
that the cataloging committee's aware of that.
okay.
I think there does need to be some clarification then, so if you
Sounds
want
like
to, if you want to talk to the cataloging committee maybe first and then bring it back,
Maybe
I don't know,
we can-
I don't know, whatever. I have no
Well,
say.
I can leave the nominations open, and then if we decide we're not going to actually open any seats, then just let them know, try again in a year.
Okay. Well, but so the people who, I mean, when they came on with understanding that there was going to be a term?
Wasn't here then, I don't know what, I just, that's the paperwork I have.
Oh, okay. But so, I mean, you've talked to these people and told them their term is expiring and they're like, okay.
I asked them if, yes,
Okay,
and they did not respond to me. I emailed and asked if they wanted to renew their terms or if they wanted to step away to work on other projects, and I did not hear back from either of them.
okay.
Very busy people.
Okay, I'm just,
Not responding.
that's just, the first I've heard of that, and since, like I say, we have people that
I need to find out
haven't,
because I am responding
doing
to
terms.
terms easily.
It definitely sounds like something that we should hammer out and make consistent.
The other
I'm glad it
thing,
came up.
the other thing I need you guys' approval on is, while I was working through all of the back paperwork, I found out that Walter Warren's term was misentered into the database as ending in 2015. The term actually ends in 2016. You appointed his replacement. Sorry?
I don't know who Walter was.
Who's Walter?
He was on the Patron Services Committee. You appointed his replacement last month, and Dana Thomas, and she agreed to serve out the remainder of the term, but at the time she thought it was 2015. And I asked her, she said she'd be willing to work through 2016, but I do need your approval for that.
I'll make that. Okay, motion.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you have our approval. I go off this year, right?
Yes,
I think I do too.
I think so. And you. And you go off of yours. Yeah, we're losing a lot of institutional members from Patron Services this time around too, so.
How many people are on the patron services?
13.
That's a lot of us.
It's a lot of people going off though. I mean, it's-
Well,
it's gonna, I mean,
it's
I know.
supposed to be, it's supposed to be 5, 5, and 3 in cycle. So it'll be 1 new Class A, 2 new Class Bs, and 2 new Class Cs.
Not a Chris.
We're just plotting. Quit it. Okay, next meeting, April 9th at the annual meeting, I guess.
If you're coming for e-content as well, that'll start at 1 o'clock, so.
And then the workshop will be in the morning,
No.
Oh,
in the
afterwards.
afternoon.
after the meeting.
Yes, we'll refuel at some point before going back to it.
Do you know what time check-in is at the end?
Only 3?
It's probably either 3 or 4. They seem to be pretty flexible though, so.
So do you have a general, like there's a dinner that evening, so what's like so it starts like at 1 to, we went to the econ, 10 to,
We go up until 8 o'clock depending how
okay.
chatty everyone's feeling.
And then the next day is a full day or, okay.
Starts at 8 o'clock, wraps at 4.
Okay.
Try to make sure you get your money's worth.
Okay.
Have anything else?
I just like to tell the e-content committee that the magazines on Overdrive are way cool.
Yes.
They are way more cool than I thought they were gonna
Yes.
be.
Thank you.
Great feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think all but 2 members in that consortium have had active circulation since it went live, and we're averaging right now about 1,000 circs a month, which is
It's probably my library.
40 to 50 times what our streaming video is doing.
They're way cool.
So I'm very confident.
I have a question about Wildberry. Should we do it after we adjourn?
Yeah.
We can, do I have a motion for adjourn, to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. All right,
Is
so
that,
adjourned.
is that run by a library?
What are we talking about?
Library.
Oh.
Because we paid for it to the
They
new
were,
county.
I think they're just
charged,
the-
or the.
Like
Oh,
we
okay.
pay West Lafayette for,
Right.
I think it's that.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're just the
Yeah.
coordinators.
Right.
Monies. Okay.
I'll say we're getting really good response.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
Yeah.
it's great.
Absolutely love it.
Did your people use the Amazon link because
I know.
ours paid for our Wildberry for this year, plus we got money back.
You did get money down.
Yeah. So
Hey, did Iron Gate do your website? Is that what they were saying to me?
they're working on it right now. It looks really cool.
Yeah, Jeff Richards was talking to me.
Yeah, it's neat what they've done for us so far.